Hello, I'm Michael Pickens with S&P Global here at CERAWeek 2026, and I'm pleased to be joined with Amy Andryszak of the Interstate Natural Gas Association of America. Amy, welcome.
Thank you, Michael. I'm excited to be here at CERAWeek.
Thank you, I'm glad you're here. There's a lot of conversations this week about rising energy demand in the United States. I know that your members are responsible for building and operating natural gas pipelines. Tell me what this moment means for your industry.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a really exciting time. And I have 3 data points I think that best kind of answer your question. First is what we're seeing anecdotally. My members kind of across the board have been saying for about the last year that they are seeing more proactive outreach from potential customers than they've seen since the shale revolution. So We're talking since 2008.
Wow.
So that's 1. 2 is what we're seeing in actual certificate application filings at FERC.
Okay.
So to put it in context, in 2025, FERC approved 16 natural gas pipeline or compressor certificate applications. And that equated to roughly 3.6 BCF a day of gas. Currently, in March of right now, 2026, FERC has 28 certificate applications pending. Wow. Some of those are in pre-filing, some of those have been filed, but there's 28 of them. And if FERC ends up approving all of those applications, it'll be roughly an additional 16 BCF a day of gas.
Wow.
And so then the third data point to just kind of highlight the demand that's happening is the INGAA Foundation recently released our North American Midstream Infrastructure Report.
Okay.
And that report modeled both demand as well as the infrastructure that would be needed to meet that demand in North America over the next 25 years.
Okay.
And what it found is that electricity generation from all sources, not just natural gas, but all sources, is expected to increase 44% over the next 25 years. And that's under what would be our reference case, so sort of keeping all the current regulations as they are. The report also modeled a low carbon scenarios case, which assumes that you have more aggressive climate policies over the next 25 years.
Okay.
And under that model, electricity generation will go up 55%.
Wow.
So long story short is that we have a sustained need for more energy and specifically more natural gas in this country.
Wow. So what's driving that demand?
So we found in our report 2 main drivers. One is the electricity generation that I touched on.
Okay.
And as it relates specifically, we've seen that some of that relates specifically to data centers. And so, for example, from data centers alone, we expect, the report said that we're going to need an additional 800 terawatts of electricity to support data centers. Currently, that number is about 300 terawatts. But as it relates specifically to natural gas, we are also seeing, expect a growing rise in LNG exports over the next 25 years.
Okay.
And so that's really driving a lot of the demand for natural gas.
Wow. So what do the INGAA members need to do at this moment?
So the INGAA members need to build. That's exactly what we need to do. We need a whole lot more pipelines. So the foundation report showed that across North America, we're going to need anywhere from an additional 1.2 to 1.4 trillion dollars in investment. Now, that's not just natural gas. That's not just my members. That's across a variety of different fuel sources and its related infrastructure. As it relates specifically to what INGAA members need to do, the report shows that we're going to need 37,000 more miles of natural gas transmission pipelines.
Oh, wow.
An additional 103,000 miles of gathering lines.
Those are a lot of miles.
A lot of miles. And then to go with that, we need up to 12.4 million additional horsepower of compression to support that natural gas transmission. So a lot of building coming our way.
It sounds that way. So what are some of the challenges and how do we overcome those challenges?
Sure. We've seen over the last number of years increased opposition to all forms of energy infrastructure. Not just natural gas pipelines, but you're seeing opposition to transmission lines, CO2 pipelines, and that opposition comes in the form of litigation.
Okay.
We're seeing increased litigation at every step of the permitting process.
Okay.
And so we really need to reform permitting reform. That sounds a little funny, but what we really need to do is we need a better framework for permitting reform in this country. And from an INGAA perspective, we think that needs to come through statutory changes. So Congress needs to pass comprehensive permitting reform legislation to make it easier to build all forms of linear infrastructure. And we think that permitting reform legislation needs to address NEPA reforms, Clean Water Act, as well as judicial reforms to make it so that you just don't see the same amount of litigation risk for these infrastructure developers.
Interesting. Well, it sounds like it's an exciting time to be in the energy industry. Any final thoughts?
Sure. It is. It's a really exciting time. I like to say that gas is back, or it's a great time to be in the energy industry, great time to be in the natural gas business. Both are true. And, the reason I say that is because these conflicts that we've seen across the world, I'd say going back, starting with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and then what we're seeing right now, the conflict in the Middle East, both of those, I think, really have awakened amongst North America the long-term need for natural gas. And here in the United States, we are blessed. Right. We have abundant supply of natural gas. What we need is the infrastructure to be able to move that supply from areas where it's produced to areas where it's going to be consumed by a variety of end users. But what's so important is that natural gas is such a wonderful base load for electricity generation. And so I think that between having domestic gas at home, as well as having LNG exports that allow us to support our friends and allies and have good, reliable trading partners, we've really seen that natural gas is so key to the United States energy future, ensuring reliability and national security.
Thank you so much for bringing your voice to this important conversation here at CERAWeek 2026. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I've appreciated the conversation. Thank you.